Hi everyone, this is Master Matt, and today we're going to be talking about chambering, and specifically the only chamber you should be using when you're doing kicks. So we're going to start out with the most basic kick of all, and that's the front kick, or you might hear it called the front snap kick. And I'm going to start by asking you a question, and that is, how would you chamber your knee for a front snap kick? Now, if you've had any form of proper martial arts training, then your answer is probably just lifting your knee up and then performing the kick. And that's the correct answer. I mean, even if you haven't had any kind of training, it just logically makes sense. If I'm trying to kick in front of me, then it just makes sense for me to lift my knee forward. That way I can kick forward with power. But then moving on to the other basic kicks, the roundhouse kick and the side kick, I would ask the same question. How would you chamber your knee for those? And probably using reverse psychology, you can figure out the answer is going to be the same thing. And that's correct. But I bet a lot of you might have said, this would be the correct chamber for a roundhouse kick, and this would be the correct chamber for a side kick. Now, while those aren't the right answers, they still hold some truth. You do need to be in this position before you perform a roundhouse kick, and you do need to be in this position to perform a side kick. But that's not where we start. We always want to start our kicks from this front chamber. The main reason driving this answer is practicality. If I'm going to front kick someone, I'm going to lift my knee and I'm going to kick as fast as I can. Now, if I were to do a roundhouse kick, and I'm going to use that chamber that we just talked about before, what I'm doing here is I'm telegraphing the technique. So I'm lifting my knee and I'm showing my opponent what's coming so that if they have any experience, they're going to know how to block that technique every time. Whereas if I'm lifting my knee just like I did for the front kick, then they don't know what's coming. They could be expecting that front kick. They could be expecting that roundhouse kick, or they could even be expecting the side kick. So if you look at these two chambers in slow motion, you'll see what I'm talking about. If I lift my knee to the side with that chamber, you can tell exactly what that kick is going to be. But if I lift my knee forward, then you don't know what the kick is until I actually throw it. And that gives you a lot less time to react. Now you might say that's great, but this is slow motion. Sparring matches don't happen in slow motion, and that's true. But if you have experience, then your mind helps you to slow down what's going on, and you can see a lot more things as they're happening versus when you just started and everything looked like a blur. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to rely on my opponent lacking experience for me to come out on top. I want to work on myself and know what my limitations are, but put my best foot forward and prevent as many limitations as I can. So a common exercise you'll see in a lot of martial arts classes is just those knee thrusts coming up to work on your speed here, and then you can branch that off into the kicks that you're doing. You can throw that into your front kick, you can throw that into your roundhouse kick, and then you can throw that into your side kick. And I know I talk about those three kicks the most, and those are the most basic kicks, but this applies to everything. If I'm doing a turn back kick, I don't want to chamber my knee up and out here. I want to keep it up and inside to where I can throw that kick straight back and avoid them seeing what kick is coming. And the same thing is going to apply to my turn back hook kick. I'm still lifting my knee straight before I turn and hook that kick around. And what I'm trying to do is make all of my kicks start the same to make me less predictable. Now, you might have come into this video already knowing all these answers, knowing that I need to lift my knee straight up, even if I'm doing a roundhouse kick, but there's still a high chance that you're skipping this part and you don't even know it. It's really hard to see what we're doing wrong unless we put a camera on ourselves and even put it in slow motion to see exactly what's happening behind your knee. And if you put a camera on yourself and you notice that that knee isn't coming up how it's supposed to before your side kick or whatever, my suggestion to you is to go back to the basics and start practicing this step by step. So with a side kick, for instance, we're just going to start with our knee straight up, and then we're going to turn into our chambered position before we execute the kick straight. Instead of trying to always throw it in one motion, we need to break it down to help our body understand what it needs to be doing. And then through time and repetitions, you can retrain your body to break those habits and start performing them correctly. And again, this is all about keeping ourselves consistent yet unpredictable, whether it's in a sparring match or in real life. And you want to be confident in your techniques. You want to know exactly what your body is trying to do, relying on muscle memory rather than on chance, because the more confident you are in your techniques, the better your chances are going to be. So that starts out from the bottom, working step by step on your techniques on your own, in your sparring matches, however you like to do it. The basics are the most important thing in any martial art. There are no shortcuts into getting where you want to be. You just have to work hard, and that's my message to you. Thank you guys for watching, and keep training.